back, we now go to the gentleman from New York for his 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield my time to the ranker, Ms. Cherfilus-McCormick.
Thank you, Representative. I just want to follow up on some questions. My biggest question is that you mentioned that you were directed to reduce by 15% for M. And what was the basis of that number? How did you derive that 15% that was supposed to be cut?
That 15%, Congresswoman, was not just for the M family of bureaus, but across the board at the State Department. When we started the discussions regarding reorganization, we weren't looking at a specific number to cut, a certain percentage, but rather we worked with our undersecretaries, with career and foreign service personnel to make sure that we got that right.
So that 15% was across the board?
Across the board at the State Department, yes.
Okay, my next question, I just want to clarify some statements. So when it comes to the consular affairs, there seems to be a discrepancy as far as the cuts, because we have reporting that there were cuts made, and you're saying that there were no cuts made. Is that correct?
There were no cuts in consular affairs. I would just hearken back to what I said before.
So our information that we have is different. If we can reconcile that with
we'd be
further
happy to work with
information.
you on that. I think a lot of it stems back to the fact that the decision and the memo that was signed for reorganization and reduction in force is effective May 29th, and a lot of any of those people that were impacted were probably in a different place, maybe in an office that had been eliminated on May 29th.
Well, as long as we can reconcile it, because the information we have, it does say that there were cuts. And so we want to see that because we're concerned about the impact that those cuts would have specifically on processing passports and visas. So once we get that, we can reconcile that and move forward. The second thing I wanted to talk about also were some of the cuts that were made to personnel in Syria. Now, Syria has been an area that's been very fragile, and we're starting to see some an uptick or some hope in Syria. Reducing the number of the regional experts working on Syria at the same time as the State Department is working on reopening its embassy in Damascus is not just counterintuitive, but it also seems like a step backwards. It puts American citizens directly in harm's way across the Middle East. I recently returned from a CODEL with Chairman Lawler, in which the issue was raised directly. What steps are you taking actually to protect and make sure that we have adequate amount of personnel in Syria, but also to support so we can make sure Syria does not regress?
Thank you, Congresswoman, for that very good question. I'm thrilled to be able to have been part of the initial discussions about the changes that took place as a result of President Trump's trip to the Middle East a little more than a month ago. It was during that time that he was able to, the president himself was able to meet with the president of Syria, and as a result of that, quite frankly, everything in the Middle East has changed. We are looking forward to giving the Syrian people and the Syrian government an opportunity to, an economic and diplomatic opportunity to deal with the rest of the world. As in this seat, as Undersecretary of Management, I worked hand in glove with our Operations Center task force, which was put in place to make sure that we looked at all of...
Because my time is running out.
Please.
We want to know about implementation and the proper number of personnel to carry out that implementation. So with those cuts, we want to know how you're going to fill it. Do they have the accurate expertise to make sure that we're successful in Syria?
I have very good news for you, Congresswoman. I do work very, very closely with our ambassador to Turkey. His name is Tom Barrack. He is also the special envoy to Syria, and he's already made a couple of trips to Damascus to meet with the president of Syria. Many of the functions that are required to get the proper security in place and get the right team in place in order for him to make that trip successful and to raise the flag above our embassy there, our ambassador's residence there on May 29th, fall under the purview of the Management Bureau. And I was thrilled to be a part of that. We are looking every single day. Every time he wants to take a trip to the region, we work hand in glove with...
So as my time is running out, could we receive from your office specific details of what steps were taken so we can be able to make sure that we're on an upward course and not a downward trajectory by having the proper amount of personnel?
I'm happy, Congresswoman, to work with you on that, yes.
Thank you. I yield back.